All right, everybody, welcome back to Four Hands Drumming. This episode will break down roughly, it's not the same every day, but generally how I sit down and practice on the drums. Ideas I try to work on, really listening to yourself and not just always thinking, I sound great. All right, I did a single stroke roll, or I did, Ted Reed's syncopation today. D- After a while, that's going to get really stale. Okay, so things that I like to do: practice along to records, go on Spotify. It's easier now than ever to go on and listen to new music. Type in on Spotify classical Indian music, hit play, sit down, good luck. Try to figure out what's going on. That's the best way for your ears to grow and for you to grow as a player. Don't just put on the same record you've played to a million times that you know perfectly. That's fine. You know that record. Move forward onto new stuff. That's something I try to do a lot. I'm gonna, at the end of this episode, do a play along to a tune that I've never played before. I'll probably do one or two takes. That'll be it. I'm not gonna like shed it or practice it. I'm just gonna play along, see what happens. Use your ears. Again, I can't stress that enough. We're playing music. We're not playing math exercises. Okay, this is a musical instrument and should be treated that way. It shouldn't be treated as a powerlifting jungle gym for guys that are trying to do the fastest, most impressive things ever. It can also be a beautiful, piece of art. It's not a competition. That's sort of what I'm trying to say is find your voice on this thing. And these are ways when I practice that I've tried to further finding my voice. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. It's a lot of me sitting down working on ideas. I'll stop myself mid episode and say, "Oh, this is what I was just thinking there," or critique my playing. I'll mess up. That's the thing. Everything you see on Instagram and Facebook and all these videos that everybody posts, they've probably done 100 takes, or they had a lucky take and they post that 1 second. And people mess up. I mess up all the time. Everybody should. If you're not messing up, you're not really trying too hard. I could sit here and play a 4/4 funk groove all day long and it'll sound fine. It's not really pushing yourself. So try to push yourself every time you sit down and play. Try to think of unique ways of tackling the instrument. I'm going to try to show you that in this episode. And I hope you guys have fun with this. And please don't look at practice as work. It should be a fun thing to exercise your brain, your hands, find new possibilities, find a new door you can open into this instrument. All right, good luck, everybody, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so let's get into some of this practice routine stuff that I work on. So basically, I haven't warmed up at all today. You guys are gonna see me make mistakes. Stuff's not gonna be totally clear. This is the whole point of warming up and practicing every day. I actually haven't been shedding a ton because I've been super busy doing a million other things. And so this is what I would do. I would sit down with my lovely reflex pad, which I'm a gigantic fan of. I use the dead side here. Okay, you guys have seen this in the technique episode. This is sort of an extension of maybe the technique episode because I'm going to utilize technique in all of this stuff. So a really simple exercise that I do is, and you guys might have seen me talk about this online and on my social media and stuff, is taking these patterns of just accenting every fifth note and breaking it up. I stopped at 4 stickings because you can go on and on and on with this stuff. And I encourage you to. If you want to do triple radimicus and paradiddles and triple paradiddles and all that stuff with this, go for it. But these 4 seem very, sort of every combination you would use that I use personally on the kit. So again, you're taking every fifth note, you're accenting it. The first sticking is just singles, which is really simple. 1, 2, 3, Okay, we can add a click. Okay, really simple. That's a simple one. The next one is taking the sticking right, left, left. Doing the same thing. Easy. So go between the two. Okay, so sticking right, left, then right, left, then the next progression would be a double. So right, left, okay? Then again, the really good part of this exercise is putting them together. Okay, so we have the right, left. We have the right, left. Then we have the doubles. Just a double stroke roll, accenting every fifth note. Okay, so let's loop those. 1, 2, 3. So mixing it up, you don't have to do, there's not a specific length of time you have to do them. The faster you change the sticking, the harder it sort of gets. And that's combinations. The reason I started doing these exercises is because around the kit, that's how I found myself doing fills and patterns, were combinations of these things. The next one that I took a while to get together, and I'm still working on it, is a paradiddle. You're so used to doing paradiddles as, you know, accenting on the first right, first left. Or double paradiddles. All right, so now we're going to take a paradiddle, which you normally accent. Really comfortable doing that, but now we're accenting every fifth note. And this is something I just started doing. It's difficult. It's hard to do because your brain tells you not to do it, okay? Let's see if I can do it. I'm sure I'll mess up at some point here. So that's a phrase. And doing it up to speed gets tough because your hands start, wanting to pop out things in different spots. So again, starting slow, get your hands comfortable. And it's working with that idea of having total control over a loud soft or a soft loud. Because that on the drums is huge. You use that on the cymbals, on the drums. Combinations of that are huge. If you're doing if you're doing a double stroke roll, you typically are accenting the downbeats like this. But if you accent the second note, it's a whole different game. So again, it's a weird thing to get your ear around, but it's super useful around the drums. So again, if you stream together those 4 stickings, so we have right, left, right, left, right, left. We have right, left, left, right, left, left. We have right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. So it's basically singles, right, left, left, doubles, and then paradiddles. It's a really simple sticking pattern to remember. And all you have to do is accent every 5th note. So it's not like a crazy math equation you have to do, okay? So I'll try to do it now. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, All right, so again, try to loop all of those together. And then when you're doing that, it'll help you come up with phrasing ideas around the kit. So this is stuff that helps me get my hands sort of warmed up and comfortable. So just streaming the 4 stickings together. Practice, folks. I do it every day. This instrument kills me. It's not easy. All right, you know, all tempos. And at a certain point, it gets to be sort of ridiculous and not that musical on the drums. So I don't usually go for speed. Okay. So now let's kind of take some of this stuff. Now that our hands are warmed up, and then obviously, you know, singles, doubles, practicing them slow to fast. Same thing with doubles. Okay, and this is a very dead surface, so it really gets your arms in here. You'll probably start burning in there. It's all right. Getting going in here. So I do that to warm up a little bit, but mostly I'm playing on the kit, okay? So now let's take some of this stuff and see how we can sort of utilize these funny stickings, like let's say doubles, and move them around, right? So I found myself playing a certain pattern for a while in fills. So I think it's something like this. All right, so let's sort of break that down. And there's different ways you can play that. You can add a kick, you can leave the kick out. So starting how I typically do it, I'll start with a bass drum. So basically hanging out on that phrase and seeing where you can move your hands. I'm basically moving between, my right hand is going between the snare, the ride, and the floor tom. And this hand is going between the rack and the snare, basically. So I've got like a triangle, 1, 2, 3, this kind of zone with the right hand. And then I've just got a straight line with my left hand. So just messing, let's just kind of mess around with some of that, see what happens. So again, doubles with like a kick can create a lot of kind of excitement, and it's not a ton of effort to put it out. If you can do a double stroke roll clean, and then you add a bass drum in the top of that. And another phrase I use a lot, speaking of this kind of thing, is right, left, right, left, okay? Famous rudiment, right? Falls out really simple on the drums. It's really easy. That's a simple one. So when I'm sitting down practicing and I come up with a phrase like that, let's say, I'll explore it. I'll just go between these 4 sounds and the bass drum. And just explore the different things in a zone. You could also do a, like this drum, China, this cymbal, and this. All right, so messing around with one pattern, taking a double and moving it around. So one thing I was just playing that made me think of this, and this is sometimes when I'm practicing, I'll do something really simple, just keeping whatever eighth note's happening here. and then having like a conversation between the snare and the bass drum and the tom. So So again, that last phrase, I'm so used to using that, but it phrases really easily around the drums. It's right, left, right, right, left, left. And when you add a kick drum in there, so now you're using 2, 4, 6, 7 notes. So again, adding a little stuff here. If you just, all you do with that phrase is play it on the snare, it's fine, but it doesn't have as much texture when you move your hands around. Okay? So that's the kind of stuff to be working on, to explore. When I'm practicing, I'll set a theme like I was saying earlier. So again, I'm just trying to play and think of stuff that I would be typically, like just then I was thinking about, cool, I did the tom thing around there with the ride. Now there's sort of some fun stuff you can do with the foot hi-hat into a sticking into the snare with just the left side of your body. So let's try messing with that, and that leads me to another point about practicing with a shaker, okay? So let's just try to play around with this phrasing. it's sort of breaking the drum set up into little sections, like limiting yourself. If you have this gigantic kit and you're trying to focus on practicing, it's difficult because you can just sit there for an hour hitting everything. It's not really helping you out creativity-wise. So just then I'm using hi-hat, snare, left foot sort of with this side, and then kick, ride, sort of interacting with those things. Okay? So something else I really dig, and I do this a lot when I'm out with Charlie Hunter, is I'll start off a tune with shaker in my right hand. Okay? And it really lets you explore some different stuff. Because you're basically soloing with your left hand and foot over this. So let's see if I can do it. So right there, I went to go to play 16ths with the left hand. They were not syncing up with the shaker. Started to fall apart. Practice. That's what I'm going to practice right now. So I'll slow it down a little bit, get it comfortable. So this is the stuff I sit at home and practice. Useful stuff. I don't sit at home and practice just going. You're not using that stuff a lot. Or going. People like that stuff on Instagram, but it's not very useful. This kind of stuff you could use on a rock gig. So messing around with different things, they're gonna help you expand. This is the stuff I sit at home and do. I might practice just doing doubles, singles with my hands as a unit and then foot, right? Again, sort of cleaning everything up, because when you have to go. So when you have have to do that kind of stuff at a slower tempo, it comes out clean. You have the mental capacity to do it slowly. Because if you're doing it here, that was sloppy, but quick example, your brain is firing so much faster than if you're going. So this is the kind of stuff I sit around and do. All right, so when I'm sitting down, like I was saying earlier, picking zones. Let's say you just have the hi-hat, kick, and snare, right? And let's say we're gonna change the sound using a trusty big fat snare drum. These things are all awesome. And then let's put some more jingles from Keplinger. This is like a darker sounding one that I had to make versus bright, dark. Use both of them. So zoning out on this thing. This is sort of like an alternative sound source thing, but it's also like stickings, practice-wise. How can I make this? So that's like doing a double with a foot. Using those techniques. Tons of GAD stuff. Just going between those two things. I mean, the reason I put this jingle here and this here is so when you're just doing there's some continuity between these two instruments, okay? Another thing I just started messing with is just playing open. If you take something as simple as a single stroke roll, right, left, right, left, right, left, and you put your right hand, okay, on the snare, left hand on the hi-hat, so it's a really simple way, once you get your ears wrapped around it, you're training your ear to get used to that open-handed thing. The reason I was screaming was that was not clean. I went to go for like a, and it came out like, not happening. So what I would do to practice that, it's a double or a single. Double, single. So let's say I'm sick of this stuff, right? Jingle stuff. Take this off, put it here, just to rest it there. But oh, maybe it sounds cool. Sure does. So don't discount something just because, oh, it probably won't sound good. Hit it. Takes a half a second. Oh, that's cool. Oh, maybe these jingles are sort of like a hi-hat thing now. So practicing doesn't mean just sitting there. When people say, oh, I'm going to go shed today, and they sit and all they do is just go like. I mean, it's fine to get your hands sort of in shape, but you got to practice with other things. Practice, fan brushes. I might sit down and vibe out. I use this on a Charlie Hunter record I just did, and I basically just was over here, a little more open than this, so maybe it was like that, and And if you check it out, that sticking is right, left, left. And I'm adding a single at the end so I can get that backbeat in there without having to muster it out. So I'll do it on here so you can see. And these things are big, man. These are 100 count, so they're pretty heavy. So maybe I would say, okay, those are sort of heavy for that one. Maybe I'll go with the, what are these? 50. And then just messing with that idea of playing. Practice doing singles with this. So using fan brushes like this is a guy, Dave Deming. They're called Dem Sticks. Very cool. I've been using these a lot. And they really give you a different thing to focus on, because you're getting that thing happening. And speaking of different things, this is another dope thing called Thumb Thang. Thumthang. And you can put this on your thumb, or you can put it on your finger, right? And let's say you have the brush. Again, alternative sound sources, everybody. So I just got a question. I posted a couple things on Instagram for fans to chime in and students to chime in. And an overwhelming thing was, well, you know, people get stuck with practicing, like I was saying earlier, just paradiddles or whatever. Basic stuff that you've been doing forever, and they sit down behind the kit and they're overwhelmed because there's so much to practice. So this episode is for you basically to see what I would do at home. I may turn all the snares off and now everything's a tom. And set up parameters. Okay, I'm gonna focus on just the toms with no snare sounds. Because if your snares are on, you're gonna typically go down this road. Because you're just sort of naturally used to playing snare drums on backbeat groove stuff. Practice press rolls. I've talked about this in technique before, but man, press rolls are so important in coming up with grooves, everything. Make sure it's happening. Your press roll shouldn't sound like this. You should picture it as a completely smooth buzz. It should sound like white noise. Super quiet all the way to super loud. And letting go of the stick really lets you get extra little buzz, little, nuance. It doesn't just stop. That elegant stuff, man, that's what's cool about this instrument. There's so many little things. I mean, I guess elegant is the word. I mean, it's subtlety, it's nuance, it's elegance. It's not just sitting down and beating the crap out of the drums. When you play really quiet, it's a whole different universe playing soft, playing here. And just because it's soft doesn't mean it needs to be, medium or slow. You could play quiet here. So when you do decide to make an impact on the music or make a statement, there's somewhere to go. You're not already up there and you got no more real estate to work with. So speaking of that, I was just thinking of again, this is how I practice. That just led me to this idea of playing fills, really simple ideas like kick, right, left, which you guys always do, Or instead of just kick, right, left, you can do kick, right, left, right, left. But instead of just going for speed, go for phrasing. Let's just do kick, right, left, and we'll pop some accents in and out of this, right? Elvin Jones. Boom. He did that. I'm not saying I sound like Elvin Jones. Don't take it that way. Elvin did a lot of that kind of stuff. Where it was like real, not angular, but it had a lot of slope to the whole thing. There was a lot of shape. And that's what makes this interesting, practicing that kind of stuff.